Okay, hey guys, welcome to the live. Uh, it's Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. Tuesday. Anyways, so I want to say, of course, thanks, Miranda. All right, thank you so much, Miranda, and thank you guys for who's ever coming in right now as well. Hi, Shelby. How are you? Sharon Parker's in the house as well. Well, except a few people flew in, but I know it is late. And to be honest with you, it's been a very busy day for me, and part of my days because like I do start my new job tomorrow morning, so we'll have to get up at 6 a.m. And so today I've been getting like doing stuff for that. And I've been working on a timeline for Sebastian Rogers. And when I say a timeline, I'm not talking about like here's video clips of this and that and stuff. I'm talking about an actual like something that you look at and it has information for you. But it's not going to be like this whole about speculation. A little bit. We'll have some of the things. So first of all, the reason why I'm doing this live, which was unexpected, is because as I was working on Sebastian's timeline, I looked down at the date and I was like, oh shoot, it's 1 month today. There's no way I can not do a live on the 1 month since he's been missing. Um, so I was like, no. So sorry if I'm doing this later. Hey, Farmer, how are you? Uh, Sorry if I'm doing this later tonight because I know it's 8:15 here Pacific Coast time, and it's obviously like 11, I think 15 Eastern Standard Time. So, anyways, doing it regardless. It doesn't matter because it's about Sebastian, and again, 1 month. So of course, prayers to the family that are searching for him. I know for a ton of us, we are just like, I don't know, our heads are spinning. We're trying to figure out, the parents are trying to figure out what happened to Sebastian. And the bottom line is that there's just a lot of things um, that aren't making sense because there's that piece right there when he leaves. If he leaves the house, that is just like who knows. So that's kind of what I wanted to do. So in saying that, let me just quickly share my screen for a second. Um, go over here. Okay, so this is basically what I've been working on today. As you can see at the bottom, it's basically it starts. 1 second here. Like it starts here and then it moves on to here, to here, to here, and until it gets to like some information and stuff. Okay. So, anyways, so that's what I've been doing all day. I even, I, I want to tell you what I actually even did. So, I know that, for instance, there's some people that other creators, and here, let me make this a little bit smaller. I do want to give a shout out, of course, to everyone that, whether it's the creators or people that are following this case. Thank you guys so much for spreading awareness. And of course, caring about the cases that are up there. Doesn't mean that you're necessarily following the same cases as I am, type of thing, because some people come and join the live and they've never maybe heard of a case that we're talking about. But in this case, this one has grabbed my heart, and I think the hearts of many definitely out there. And so I want to say thank you again. I know like JLR is doing boots on the ground. I know that CJ Evil from his how he's get his thing messed up when I try to say it, Crime Concepts podcast. I know that uh, Cluminati, Dolly Vision is boots on the ground as well with CJ and JLR right now. Same with Cluminati. And like I said, I know that the first interview that the Proudfoots did was on Duchess. So again, I mean, I'm sure there's ICTML is covering it, and I know that there's more out there. But like I said, I'm just trying to somewhat go with the flow of kind of when interviews are being done or when there's some certain information out there. So this live is really, it's just to honor Sebastian Rogers, to know that people are still out there caring about him, looking for him, doing boots on the ground. I also know today that there's been somewhat of this big thing with the whole Cajun Navy thing going on as well, and I haven't had time to overly pay attention to it. I saw this morning that JLR was live. Hi, hey, Charmaine. I seen this morning that JLR was live. And he was going off on what he was saying was something about this um, Cajun army or whatever, a bunch of scammers, and trying to push him off the land. Kind of like this, whatever his name was trying to like come over there and intimidate him, telling him he had to leave, or he was calling the cops, and stuff like that. If you were a 15-year-old boy and having family problems, where would you go to? That would be right. I know that's the big thinker of it. So with that being said, let's get out a few of these things here um, that I've been seeing today. But knowing that I was working on this timeline most of the day, oh, I know what I was going to say. So I know that, here's another one too as well. Sweetie Pie Low. Okay. So Sweetie Pie Low again, I first came across Sweetie Pie Low. Not that we talk or anything like that. We did maybe a couple times back in the Suzanne Morphew day. And I know she's covering the case. And I know that she had gone over some bits and pieces the other day, which I was showing you guys. And it sounds like she was talking with this lady or something that had camera footage of from the angle, um, which I believe is like this house number that's or diagonal that can see the garage and the front door. Not sure if that's who she's speaking to, but that's maybe what it sounds like. But that's just up in the air if that is. So I reached out to her today because I wanted to talk to her because I just wanted to get some times down a couple of times. I kind of just don't want to know perhaps if she knows or if any of you guys actually know from maybe watching some of the other creators. Um, I want to know if by chance what time was Sebastian seen taking the garbage out just to put it into the timeline, and what time that Katie and Sebastian arrived home. So anything to do with a little bit of footage that the neighbor had. So anyways, so I'm sitting there and I'm trying to think, like, because I really wanted to add the stuff into the timeline, but even when I think she was going over it, she didn't. She kind of just went, I think it, like, I think she said, like, I think it's from 6 to 7 he was taking the garbage out, but there was, but I thought maybe if I actually talked to her, maybe she could more pinpoint that down, or maybe Trev Time has information, or CJ, or Cluminati, or the Duchess or whoever that just has a little bit more information towards the timeline based on some of that camera footage that some of the neighbors had and stuff like that. So anyways, so so I decided to look up the address of the house that's, let's see, if you're facing the house, it would be to the left hand side, not the one on the upper hill, but the one across, right? So I'm thinking, well, if this person's willing to give out information, perhaps maybe I'll just call and see if this person will talk to me. Anyways, so I call. Sebastian lives in 1008. I call 1001011, okay, which is across the street. And anyways, so I put in the address, couldn't find it on whatever. So I just went, who lives on Stafford Court, right? So this list of people pull up. So I go back over to search people and I look for a phone number. So I call. And after a couple of rings, this person's like very a man. He's like, hello. And I could barely hear him really. And I'm like, hello. And he's just like, and then I heard him say hello more. Anyways, so he's like, who is calling? So I was like, well, my name is Sunny, and here, let me tell you exactly why I'm calling. So I basically exactly told him why I was calling, that I was a YouTube creator that follows the case of Sebastian Rogers. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe you live in the house that's, kind of across there from it. And I was just wondering, basically by chance, if you, you know, um, maybe had some camera footage or whatever. I think I asked for the wife first, but he answered. So I don't even know what his name was. It started with M, so I just assumed it was Michael and said Michael or something like that. Anyways, um, so I gave him my little spiel, and then his spiel back to me was something like, "I don't work with YouTubers, or haven't or whatever," and that he's law enforcement that lives there. Now, I remember that somebody said that law enforcement lived right around there. Well, obviously that must be him then. so, um, so I, so I'm confused. The YouTubers that are getting this information, because the person's house that, from what I'm seeing, and then maybe Trev Time or somebody can tell me differently. When they were talking about it, it wasn't the one that was high; it was the one that was across, but the lower one, which would be that home. So that's obviously Mr. Law Enforcement guy that lives right there. That their house or something can see the garage and the front door. Um, so, anyways, and then he was just like, "Okay, have a good day, thank you." Basically, um, yeah. So, um, gaming. 1 second. I took my prescription. Oh, you guys are talking about something different there. Okay. Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Hello, sweetie. Hey, did you go to see what Chris posted on his Facebook tonight? It's so scary to watch the videos on his Facebook that he just posted. I haven't. I didn't. I mean, I can go take a look in a minute, but I haven't. Like I said, I've been so busy between starting my job tomorrow and working on Sebastian's timeline. So, anyways, this is what I want to ask of you guys that are watching right now, or whoever comes in and is watching the video. Hi, insanely confused. So, whether it's about the things that Sebastian didn't like according to his stepdad or father, like bugs, or didn't like to be dirty and stuff like that. If you guys have anything that you can think of, that possibly I've forgotten, because I'd like to add it, just in the comment section of this video, not here in the live, because to go back to that, but in the comment section after this live ends, can you guys come back? And if there's anything, okay, what I don't want is speculative stuff. I just want stuff. If the speculative is stuff, then maybe you can tell me a channel that was talking about having camera footage or talking to a person from that area. But other than that, it's more about the factual timelines of it. Yeah, like this particular video that I'm creating is basically one for the public to use if they want to, but has basically the facts of what happened that day according to the Proudfoots, and say the what like the LE, and stuff like when they started their search, or sorry, called back from their search, and did a search at the landfill, a factual one, but in it will be other information that's not necessarily, say, factual in a sense, but still, one of those, that bit of information that still is likely to be factual, or possibly, like, I mean, we know that Katie, like, for other information, it would be something like, when Katie said that there was only solar lanterns, in the front garden of the house, stuff like that, right? So she did say it, in a sense. Again, right, we can only go based upon what information is being put out there from either the horse's mouth or Ellie or Seth Rogers. Um, I will take a look. Um, I'll take a look when we're watching a few videos here. So again, today is the 1 month anniversary, sadly, of missing Sebastian Rogers. And again, it's just really to bring awareness, and that's really what I want to do with the information that I'm trying to create here. Is like not all the drama-y stuff, or things that people are kind of putting in there. Just here's the facts, here's some other information type of thing, so that so that people can see it and just know what's been said at like this time. Katie wakes up, da 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 type of thing. Okay. Anyways, welcome again to the live, you guys. I'm just gonna pull up a few clips that have came up recently. And by the way, I don't know how many of you guys saw that, but that was quite the thing, watching that bridge uh, get whoosh, by that barge. I was awake when the special report happened on that, and I was like watching, and I'm like, oh, dang, in Maryland there. Anyways, that was kind of crazy to watch that, especially for all those, thank goodness it wasn't that busy, but still, for those people, the crew workers that were on the bridge. Anyways, so prayers to, that incident that happened as well. Uh, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it's one of those things, right? Gaming. It's kind of like that's what I was kind of thinking too myself. Like, that's what I would do. But, doesn't mean I would do that every time. But I know that if I heard a thud, myself, I would get up and go check the room for sure, because that's just the type of parent I am. And I don't want to take away from Katie on that one, because, like I said, it's not like that's bad parenting. It's just that me, um, if my husband, if my son, anything, if I ever thought he had an accident or something like that, I'd be like racing to the room, because that's just who I am as a parent. You know, I don't care if he's 15 or whatever. It's just one of those things for me. But not to take away from the fact that if Katie didn't, she simply didn't, doesn't make her a bad parent. Um, that bridge, absolutely. New fear unlocked. Right? Right? Uh, I wanted to ask if they had searched those manholes that we have, Luke Sewer. Well, from what I was told that they have, I want. I was cringing watching that. Oh, yes, it was. I have been known to check. Yeah, absolutely. So again, I'm not fully understand. Like, I'm not fully aware, because I haven't had time to pay attention to it all, for the drama going on with the whole Cajun Navy, Army, whatever it's called, United Cajun Army, Cajun, this and that. Whoops, I accidentally opened up the wrong thing here. So let me just take a quick look here. Okay, so I think this one is from JLR's um, post. I think it was. So Cajun Navy 2016. Now, this was not too long ago. You've always got the ones that aren't in it for the right reasons, and then you unfortunately have the other ones. We will never unite with wolves impersonating his sheep. Sounds like my ex-husband. Okay, anyways, good will always prevail. Um, then there was this other one here. Stop screen, present. Just a couple of things that I came across. I don't remember. Maybe it's from JLR's. All I know is Aspen or Charmaine put it into our group chat. So Kate Hanway says they are fake, not real. Who are they to tell someone they can't search for Sebastian? Everyone should be out searching if they're able to. You chasing away people only hurt Sebastian's chances of being found. Shame on you. Cajun Navy, we are not there. You are one of the many confused ones. This is the whole purpose for creating these posts on our page. Yeah, autocorrect, I know. And then there was, I think, well, just one more here. Stop screen. Anyways, drama to the whole thing, even between the stepdad and the real bio dad. Well, I should say probably Katie Proudfoot and the stepdad. But it seems like that the conversations that they ever had was not really ever with Katie. They were always between the stepdad and the dad whenever there was interaction. So the United Cajun Navy is not part of your organization. What is going on? Cajun Navy, definitely not. I didn't realize you and a lot of other people. So whoever it was, JLR was, calling out these people and basically telling them that they're a bunch of leeches, asking for donations, donations, donations. And we know that Nancy Grace also, kind of blasted that one guy a little bit, and basically said, like, no, I want to see everything. Let me put it this way myself, whatever to those people, okay, just whatever. I would rather see true boots on the ground than any news footage, to be honest with you. If I had the choice to be to either see, you know, uh, JLR's footage, CJ's footage, Dolly's footage that are actually there doing boots on the ground, where you're literally there in the mix of everything and you actually feel like you're there. I would rather have that any day of the week than just, here's a clip of news footage. Those are all, everyone has their place, like I say. But yeah, I mean, and like I said, that guy walking up to his vehicle and stuff like that, just ridiculous. Just ridiculous, right? From my understanding, there is an official United Cajun Army, and then there are knockoffs. Cracked. I couldn't tell you exactly who's who in the zoo on that one. But yeah, like I said, yeah, I don't know enough to really talk about it too much. Like I said, you guys, for everyone that caught JLR, and him talking about it and blasting them, and stuff like that. And then when he was reviewing the one guy, he's like, dude, like this guy owes like how much in back child support plus whatever else and stuff like that. Right. News clips are just little blurps. That's why for YouTubers, when they do or interview somebody, obviously, right, we typically get to watch the whole thing, as it unfolded. One thing this case has taught me is that I need to cut my son some slack. There you go. He's 7 and ADHD, and he can be a lot sometimes, but I got to try to imagine how he feels. Absolutely. If there's one thing for me personally, always, I'm always willing to learn, and I'm always willing to look at myself, what I'm doing, and willing to change if it means it's for the better. I'm always willing to do that stuff myself. Because nobody's perfect. We don't parent perfectly. So saying something like that just reminds me of myself, Shelby, as well. Sometimes I remember, well, with my son, like I said, he was getting 12 years old at the time and stuff like that. And it was my own fears, for valid reasons, my own fears that something might happen to him. And it was my job to protect him. But at what point do maybe, as parents, sometimes we cross those lines and try to maybe overprotect in a sense, which I still won't ever feel guilty for loving my kid enough to try to always make sure that he's safe. For many of you guys, like I said, my son got a phone when he was like 12 at the time, and he's like 27 now. And the reason why he got that phone is because I just wanted to make sure that he got to school okay, and that when he got he was getting onto the bus, that he was message me and tell me, okay, mom, I'm getting onto the bus now to come home. So that way I was like, okay, right? I don't feel guilty about that. Hey, if you want a phone, this is the reason for it, and this is why you're getting it. So don't forget that. So the minute he wanted to give me some attitude sometimes, like, moms, quit worrying, but that's because the ex-husband would make those comments, but the husband at the time. And I'd be like, well, remember, this is why we got him the phone, but if it made me feel better, and all it was a simple text to say he made it to school. Was there anything so much wrong with that? No, you know, like I said, to me, it's always trying to find the balance, right? Love them, protect them as best you can, but knowing you're not perfect. Like I let my son sit on the computer all the time. Why? Really? Because it meant that I didn't have to worry he was outside or something, possibly something happened to him or getting in trouble. If he was home on the computer, it meant I could breathe and I could just kind of relax. So, um, as a secret code to my family has always used X as a secret code to come get. Oh, okay. Yeah, and again, if you're getting to Streamlabs thing where it's saying that you're trying to post a link, remember it's just because you're putting a period. You might be hitting a period, putting it in the wrong spot, and then YouTube is deeming it as obviously a link. Okay, so let's just go to a couple of the videos that are out there, and because again, awareness for Sebastian. And so let's just watch a couple clips. I got a few up here. Let's start with this one that I just saw recently. Anyways, thank you guys all for coming in. Again, please hit the like button, you guys. That's not, you don't got to say, well, if Streamlabs accepts apologies, then you're forgiven. All right, so let's watch this one, guys. All right, make this bigger. Hit play.
Exclusive look inside the ongoing search for Sebastian Rogers. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rory Johnston.
And I'm Carrie Sharp. The 15-year-old disappeared 1 month ago from his Hendersonville home. And since then, there have been few updates from authorities.
The case is certainly frustrating, and we know it's impacted the entire community, which is why we're committed to sharing the very latest with you, including what's still being done now to find Sebastian.
Our Nick Barris was granted full access to the Sumner County Emergency Operations Center to find out, and takes us inside in this exclusive report.
It was 1 month ago that Sebastian Rogers disappeared from his Hendersonville home. Now, this is one of the first times anyone's been inside the Sumner County Emergency Operations Center with a chance to take a look at all that's been done on this map to help find the teen.
This is the system that we use to track all of our searchers.
Ken Widener is director of Sumner County EMA, and from the beginning, he has spearheaded the official search for Sebastian.
The investigation's still active.
It was nonstop during the first 8 days after the teen disappeared. No trace of him. The professional search effort has since been scaled back, though Widener appreciates volunteers who continue to look following their own leads.
I'm not going to beat up psychics and things, but we've got to vet what we do before we do it.
Widener says they follow up credible leads from law enforcement.
And anytime the sheriff's office indicates or TBI indicates that we've got an area of interest that we need to search, we're ready to go.
And this sophisticated mapping system in the Emergency Ops Center shows they've been busy. There's a report of bones found, and they go.
Fresh bones. We checked that out. It was deer bones.
Divers and spelunkers have been deployed to area ponds and sinkholes.
The white dots are caved, and they've all been searched.
Also, they've looked in every storm drain within a half-mile of Sebastian's home, and some have wondered about the home itself.
The house was searched at least 10 times.
Dogs?
Dogs, yep.
Widener says bloodhounds and cadaver dogs were used, but contrary to some reports,
none of them, to my understanding, were actually on a trail that was following Sebastian.
To date, it's as though the boy simply disappeared. Have you found evidence of Sebastian yourself when you've been out there?
No.
As busy as this map is, I'm told there's still areas to be checked to look for Sebastian Rogers, and no one is giving up. In Sumner County, Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
Okay, and thank you, Justice Jane, for putting that up there. Appreciate that. Okay. My bad. Come back on here. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of go for the moment, like clip to clip to clip. They're all a few minutes long. I'm just gonna kind of play out what's out there. Okay, guys. So the next one, let's just do this one here. Do.
Will be a whole lot better. Frustration surfacing in the search for Sebastian Rogers as nearly a month has passed since the 15-year-old with autism went missing from his home in Sumner County. Today, Sebastian's biological father and a group of volunteers searched again near the Rockland Recreation Area in Hendersonville for any clue leading to Sebastian. This, as they say, private tracking dogs alerted to a particular spot this weekend that they say hasn't yet been checked out by law enforcement. County leaders responding, saying that the volunteers need to, quote, trust the process. As the Sumner County Sheriff's Office and TBI scaled back the ground search for Sebastian Rogers to focus more on the investigative side of his disappearance, his biological father, Seth Rogers, continues to coordinate search parties in the weeks since.
Law enforcement only has so many people. So it's us as a community, as well as a family, to be out there searching and to assist as much as we possibly can.
This weekend, a focus on the Rockland Recreational Area, about 6 miles from Sebastian's home, where Sebastian's mother and stepfather, Katie and Chris Proudfoot, believe he walked off in the middle of the night. Investigators saying they found little, if any, trace of the teen. Sebastian's father telling me today that the initial search radius was about 5 miles and that he wants to scour as much area beyond that as possible.
We just want to find Sebastian. That man over there is broken. He needs his son back.
Nonprofit search group the United Cajun Navy, already in town for the Riley Strain case, joined in the search effort for Sebastian Saturday. Searchers telling me 2 of their tracking dogs appeared to hit on a spot.
When the dog had to hit, everybody got out of the area so law enforcement could come in and do their job. Did they do that? I don't know. I'm not sure. But I feel like it was something that should have been, if not, been checked into.
No confirmation from the Sumner County Sheriff or TBI on whether they followed up on that lead, but a source with the United Cajun Navy says since the land is federal representatives would need to accompany law enforcement on any of their searches, and that could happen this week. Meantime, Sebastian's father and his team are given access inside this warehouse.
Sebastian, son. Dad.
But there are concerns among county officials over the search volunteers about safety, complaints over trespassing, and possibly compromising any kind of evidence or scene that might surface. Today, County Commissioner Don Schmidt asking for volunteers to, quote, leave the search to professionals. That did not go over well with many online followers of Sebastian's case or volunteers actively trying to find him.
I'm not going to stop.
Well, TBI did release a statement, a lengthy statement, just 2 days ago, saying investigators continue to follow up on any tips and leads they receive daily, nearly 250 of them so far, and review information as well for Sebastian's case. They said much of the work they're doing to track down Sebastian is not something that you will necessarily see in the public eye.
Okay, so let me come back for a second here. Okay, so remember the dogs hit on a spot when I was watching JLR Live, and some of you guys elsewhere, or else if not, you want to watch it later, or seen it later. Now, like I said, there's this big kerfuffle that's kind of going on with all that, and you know what? Good on them. Like I said, everyone has their place. The more eyes, everything out there that's either dispersing the flyers for Sebastian, doing boots on the ground work, the times have changed, people. Okay, Ellie, okay, anyone else? The times have changed. Now we have YouTubers who are boots on the ground. We see them a lot. And again, they're beneficial. They're beneficial for putting the truth out there of what's going on at that time. And so anyways, I want to quickly share my screen with this comment from SF Investigates. Okay. Whoops, I didn't show it. I got to, I guess, present and welcome anyone. And again, I ask you that, again, I'm doing a timeline, like when I say timeline, an actual timeline for Sebastian Rogers with the information, but the information that is, like I said, from the Proudfoots, the police department, etc., with some kind of like the footnote stuff, other information towards it. So that way that when, say, someone sees it, doesn't know about the case. Here's the information that we got, just spread it out and keep it going. So anyone that is watching this live or watching it later, in the comment section after this live is ended, please come back and put any factual memory, like whether it's about the things that Sebastian didn't like, any other timestamps that you guys might know of from other creators that have talked about where somebody has gone on, or the creator has talked about that they've talked to a neighbor and about a time of when Sebastian came out with the garbage, or when Katie arrived home, just so I could add that into the actual timeline. But obviously it won't be factual, but it will go into the other information. Okay, so SF Investigates said this. I've just spoken with the Hendersonville Police Department and the United Cajun Navy's claim on Nancy Grace regarding the canine detection of human remains of a homeless person this Saturday is entirely false. They told me no remains have been discovered or recovered at the Rockland Recreation Center. Not over the weekend, not yesterday, and not today, despite the UCN vice president claiming twice on the Nancy Grace show that remains were found. He lied. This misleading information tarnishes the reputation of all SARS teams. And I find it absolutely disgraceful and infuriating. There's somebody deeply troubling behind these actions. The SARS slogan is, so others may live. We come to help. We come to save. We do not come to deceive and trick and pander. So I want to say that too, right? Is that somebody called, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure if JLR said that it was someone from the Cajun. Anyway, someone called there. Hence why when you guys heard them, like, we got to leave, we got to get off, it's private land, whatever, right? So somebody really honestly had the audacity to call when these people are spending their day, their time looking for Sebastian in this area of woods that was, I guess, a tornado or something like that had gone through it. That people are that malicious enough to take away from do-gooders doing good work and stuff like that. Absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of still confused about who the United Cajun Navy is and who the Cajun Navy 2016, who's saying that we aren't there, and then this guy on Nancy Grace is saying like that we're the original and stuff like that. So I'm still confused on all that because I hadn't had time to go through all that. I was working on, of course, Sebastian's timeline and plus getting myself ready for tomorrow's first day on my job. It's been a year and a half, guys, since I was working as an optometrist, type of thing. So I've just been creating videos and spending it with you guys. So now I'm going to have to try to balance that out a bit more here, but we'll see how it all goes, eh? So anyway, so I wanted to show you guys that. And again, like for all the boots on the ground, we support you. We love you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep Sebastian's name out there, guys, of course. And like I said, if people want to go search and spend their day looking for Sebastian, don't let anybody stop you. You do you, boo. Let them do them. And let those wolf in sheep's clothing, like I said, have karma come bust them in the butt type of thing. Okay, so I'm going to go to another video we'll watch here. Whoops. Okay, this is I Still Have Hope one from Seth Rogers.
In nearly 1 month since 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers disappeared from his home in Sumner County. Thanks for joining us on this Monday, everyone. I'm Rory Johnston. Like you, we have followed this story closely and hope Sebastian will soon be found safe. Well, tonight we share this update. The teen's father tells News Channel 5's Jason Lamb even 1 month later, he has not and will not give up hope.
Wearing a ribbon of his son Sebastian's favorite color, Seth Rogers reflects on his son's disappearance nearly 1 month later.
As this search has gone from hours to days to now
almost a month. How are you holding up?
I didn't even realize it had been a month yet till about 3 days ago when I looked at a calendar. To me, it's just one big day, and it hasn't ended. And it's not going to end until I have my son back.
After law enforcement scaled back its search, the United Cajun Navy, the same group that searched for missing Mizzou student Riley Strain, is now helping with the search effort for the 15-year-old boy with autism, who authorities say wandered away from his Hendersonville home. There's been no trace of the boy ever since. I'm curious what you would say to investigators, to some people watching now, who would say that kids just don't vanish without a trace, implying that there must be some kind of foul play involved. What would you say to them?
Foul play is still negativity. He's out there. We just got to find him. Stop making excuses. You know, if there's foul play, we'll find out after we get a hold of him. We got to talk to him. He'll tell us what happened. We just got to find him first.
And let's just be clear for everyone watching. Do you have any knowledge whatsoever about your son's disappearance?
I don't. I found out over an hour after his mother found out he was gone.
With his son still missing, Rogers urged neighbors once again to check their properties, even places you'd think someone would never go.
He's going to be in the weirdest place in the world because that's my son. You know, people are going to be like, oh, well, we're not going to check this, but you better check it. Because knowing him and his curiosity, he might be there.
He might be there, an unending hope that Sebastian's father is still holding on to.
So that's that clip. Gonna go down to, oops, hi. Now I'm just like up close and personal. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next clip, guys. Again, 1 month today, the 26th, since Sebastian Rogers has been missing from his home on Stafford Court there in Henderson, Tennessee. And again, about bringing awareness to Sebastian Rogers, of course. And we're just playing some clips that have come out in the last, basically day here. So the next one I'm going to play is this one. And I don't know about you guys, but I love Brian Enton.
Concerns about what may have happened to that boy. We're joined by Seth Rogers, Sebastian's father. Seth, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so sorry for everything you're going through. We want to get the word out about Sebastian. Hasn't gotten enough national attention. Sebastian, I want to be clear, was with his mom and stepdad when he disappeared, but you're very close to Sebastian. Do you have any idea what may have happened here?
I haven't been, I don't know. I mean, I got a phone call and a text message that I received after I got off of work stating that I needed to give the stepfather a call. I called him and he was like, Sebastian's missing. Don't be upset or anything, but you need to come to the house. I don't know what happened to him. I haven't seen him in over a month. I've been out here looking for him.
Seth, I mean, what do they think happened? I mean, could he really have just walked away like that? It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. His shoes are still by the front door. His switch was there. His phone was in the kitchen. It just didn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And I still can't figure it out. I've been looking everywhere, been handing out flyers, been just trying to keep up hope. And I've reached out to United Cajun Navy to sit there and see if they will help me. And they answered my call.
Yeah, one thing I couldn't understand is why they were telling people not to search at one point. I mean, the shift went to the landfill. It was this investigation and they're telling people not to search. I couldn't make sense of that. I mean, it made me wonder, do you have any indication that investigators may know that something bad happened here?
They haven't told me anything, and they told people not to search, but I've been searching since that Monday. I can't just sit around and not do anything. I've got to find my son.
Yeah, I understand. I would be doing the same exact thing as you, and I think everybody around America would be, and their hearts go out to you. Have you talked to Sebastian's mom, stepdad? You mentioned you had that conversation when they said, you know, he's gone missing, but have they been able to give any more information?
I haven't spoken to them for at least 2 weeks. They're not talking to me.
There are reports that they have packed up an RV and left the house that Sebastian disappeared from. Any idea why they would do that?
I have no idea. I have no information. They weren't talking to me, so I was out here trying to find my son.
Do you feel that they were taking good care of him?
I've got information from podcasts that they were showing that horrify me.
What do you mean? I mean, were they on podcasts or? I'm sorry, I know this is upsetting, but I just want to understand.
They were going on podcasts, and it was like, it's supposed to be about Sebastian. They wanted to talk about themselves. I don't get that. We need to get Sebastian's face out to everybody. Have them looking for Sebastian. This isn't about me. It's not about his mom. It's not about his stepdad. This is about Sebastian. He needs to be found.
Have they been searching at all? I mean, I know you're out there right now. Have his mom and stepdad been out there too?
I can't answer that question. I don't know. I haven't seen them.
I'll talk about
They've
that
not
in a
been where
second.
I've been handing out flyers or searching, so I couldn't tell you what they've been doing.
I mean, Seth, you know, I'm glad we have the picture up. He looks like such a nice young man. And I mean, would he ever leave barefoot? I know that's something that's perplexed some people. And even people who have children on the autism spectrum have been perplexed by that. Does that make any sense?
It doesn't. It does not make any sense. If he knew he was going to go out walking or anywhere in the yard or whatnot, he would put on socks and shoes. He had a horrible experience as a child with fire ants. He learned. It's always socks and shoes, or at least something on your feet to protect you from what's on the ground.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe.
Yeah.
1 second here. Okay, so let me come back on screen. Okay, so from, and this is just my own observation, because it was on this case, Smiley Stories World. Okay, and I don't remember the timestamp. Basically, what happened was, or at least to me, okay, this is my own speculation, but Christopher Proudfoot did talk about something on the Smiley's World about this GoFundMe. Okay, so basically, when this happened, they all had a pact, right? They were asked not to go to the news media. And then when a GoFundMe was brought up, the LE, basically law enforcement said, well, maybe not a good idea because, you know, you don't want to come across like you're money grabbing or whatever it was, something like that. And so anyways, they had this pact that before they went off and did anything, that they would talk to each other. And then I believe it's Seth's sister started GoFundMe. And of course, Robin Rogers has been pretty vocal about her feelings about Christopher Proudfoot, as you guys have probably seen in some of the chats that she's been in, including this one. Okay, so obviously she does not like Christopher Proudfoot. To be honest with you, I don't think I like Christopher Proudfoot too much myself as a person. There's definitely stuff that, has been shown. You can't make, a duck into a swan, but maybe if Christopher Proudfoot wants to think he's a swan, and it's kind of like, hey, wait, let me explain this away. Let me explain that. Let me explain the belt away. Let me explain this away. No, okay? But I still myself don't believe that Christopher Proudfoot, okay, my own personal opinion, I still personally don't believe that Christopher Proudfoot or Katie Proudfoot have anything to do with Sebastian's disappearance. I never have from the start. And even catching him in lies, I still don't believe it. I think that Christopher Proudfoot, myself, my own opinion, is that he likes to be vocal and strong and talk for Katie. And, Katie seems to have no problem him doing that. He comes off very somewhat narcissistic for sure, and aggressive and abrasive, like he basically said. I doubt he would consider himself a narcissistic personality, however. So the whole kerfuffle seems to have started over this GoFundMe because it's for Seth Rogers. Because bottom line is that we know, we're not stupid. We can see where people are cheering, what corner they're cheering in a sense. And it's Seth Rogers' corner, because when he speaks, not besides Katie over there, when he speaks, you are wanting to break down for him. You want to hug him. You literally just feel the crackling in his voice, the tears in his eyes, the exhaustion, the pain, the heartache. You feel it all through his words, right? It's genuine and it's real. When you seen Katie talking, or Katie, I could see that absolute hurt and pain in her eyes. Christopher Proudfoot, though, has not done himself any favors at all, right? Now, I get it, because instantly the stepdad got attacked, and that was kind of the case in here. But it's kind of one of those things that because he came across as that strong personality, and you didn't really feel like this much of remorse when he spoke, almost like, like sometimes you see stepdads talking and they speak as if that child is their own in a sense, and you feel it, through the computer, through the interview, through whatever. With Christopher Proudfoot, you never really got that big vibe from him. It was almost just like, not to take away from whatever feelings he has for Sebastian, but it was more like he was there for his wife, but he wasn't really showing emotions, and he was making a lot of things about him, it seemed like, when he's talking, especially like in the Smiley World one and stuff like that. And so this whole kerfuffle seems to have stemmed from that they had this pact that they, were going to, whenever someone was going to do something, they let each other know. I think that they felt, from stuff that I've heard, is that kind of like, well, Seth Rogers was kind of doing stuff on his own. This GoFundMe comes up, and it's basically money for, him. And then Robin Rogers is, kind of like dissing Chris Proudfoot, and I'm sure with some great reason, considering we've seen that side of Christopher. Anyways, so it turned into drama. And so now you see there's that tension there, hence why they're not talking, because, it's kind of like, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure JLR showed it, something about Christopher Proudfoot saying basically he would pursue legal action or something like that if they didn't take down the GoFundMe and blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Honestly, my whole thing still is, who cares? So create a GoFundMe for yourself then. So, but you can see where something like this, and considering Katie doesn't really talk to Seth, it's been Christopher that's mostly talked. So you can feel where the separation kind of went, and hence why it's kind of like, hey, you do you here, I guess we'll do us here, because obviously the pact meant nothing type of thing. And so that's kind of where this divide seems to have come from anything that I've listened to or watched. But this is about Sebastian. Hey, if Seth needs money to help fund him, to aid in searches and stuff like that, and his sister wanted to create a GoFundMe, so be it. The thing is that, again, we know where people are pulling to, and they're pulling on the heartstrings of Seth Rogers. They're not so much pulling on the heartstrings of Katie and Christopher. If it was just Katie doing the interview by herself, it would probably be in the same place. But when you have Christopher Proudfoot, who's very vocal, and especially on the Smiley's World interview, that's the one where he really, really did not look good. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Lacey. Whoops. Thank you so much for being a member for 9 months. Thank you, Lacey. Love you too. Anyways, so hence what you're seeing here, right, is someone who's exhausted. Obviously, that there's not this communication going on now. In the interview yesterday, the thing is, what has thrown off people, okay, is simply the fact that they've done 5 interviews or 6 now that I know of, that I personally know of. So if I missed any, I'm not aware of them. Okay. Duchess first, right? WSMV, then Caitlin Miller, then I believe it was Chronicles of Olivia, and then it was Smiley's World, and then Nancy Grace. Those should be the ones that I know about. So if there's any other one out there, I don't know of it then, because I've been trying to keep track. But with Seth Rogers, I can't keep track, because at first I could, but now he's kind of like been on a lot of different things talking. But the thing is that with Seth Rogers, like I said, with him, don't really need to, in a sense, because we've just been listening to the things that he did know. But obviously, some of the things that he's speaking of is from when Sebastian is at his house and his routine. Obviously, he doesn't live in the Proudfoot home, which is his, 5 days a week type of space, unless there's a Christmas or different holidays that come about. So the things that maybe he knows are going to be different than his everyday living at the home, where, for instance, let's talk about the shoes for just one quick sec. So Seth said that Sebastian would never go outside without his shoes on. Why? Because of, the fire anthill, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas Katie said, well, that's not true. He does go out without his shoes on, but typically he has his shoes on, but he still does go out without his shoes on. So it's kind of one of those things, like I said, you got a child that's living in 2 different places. When Seth was asked, did they have an alarm? He didn't know the answer. Right. So that's where it came from, of course, Katie and, Chris. Now, did Chris claim that he had taken a polygraph test? Yes, he did. And you could see him squirm for a second when it was brought up on Nancy Grace. Now, do I personally feel like he was squirming because he had done something to Sebastian? No, I don't. What I feel that Christopher Proudfoot was doing was portraying like they had both taken this polygraph test. And it's almost like Chris is trying to improve his look to the public by coming off that, yeah, you know what? See, look it, I didn't do nothing. We took polygraph tests, So when he was on Nancy Grace, he also held back from saying what he had said on the Smiley Story World about when they were talking about the belt and stuff like that, and the, what would you guys call it, the CPS or department. Like, he kind of held back. Why? Well, because when you're on a YouTube show, you actually open up a bit more. When you're there on, like, to me, a news media station, like say News Nation or Nancy Grace, like, she's like a no bullshit type of person, just like she cut off Katie there and says, no. I want to hear it from Christopher. I'm talking to Christopher, not you, Katie, Christopher, and she was just trying to get facts and stuff like that. So I think he was trying to do some control damage to himself, because he knew that the public, that it didn't matter if he said left or right, the sky was blue or not. No matter what, basically, Christopher Proudfoot says, he gets looked at for the most part with a stink eye. And I just think he was trying to save face a bit, because I think he feels like he's been, like, totally prosecuted and attacked by the public, and, sometimes it's just best, unfortunately for him, he probably didn't know better than to come off as more softer and, making it about Sebastian. Instead, he came off as controlling, talking for Katie, as if Katie couldn't somehow speak, even though we know she can, And so as the interviews kept projecting up until the one on Story, sorry, I want to get it right. What is it called again? Story World. Smiley Story World, sorry. That's when he got very on the defensive even more. It was almost like when I was listening to him, it's like he's looking at chat going, and just to get this fact straight, I don't care what people think about me. Well, apparently you do. Apparently you do, Christopher Proudfoot. And the thing is that there's no turning back for Christopher Proudfoot. When he was caught basically telling some untruths about the polygraph and not, kind of like saying what he said on Smiley's World, again, right? We look for the inconsistencies because that's what we do. We're looking for people to talk and say the same things. But in their case of Katie and of course, Christopher, again, you can just go back to the interviews. Duchess, they said more. WSMB, they said less, but not too much less. But they still left out things like the flashlight. Why would you leave out the flashlight in the WSMB video? Why wouldn't you talk about that? So then Nancy, coming up to Nancy Grace now, and Smiley's World, and even Chronicles of Olivia. Those are the most, well, Duchess too, but each of them have their own tidbits that were either added after the fact. Like, for instance, at no point up until Nancy Grace, sorry, back itchy, at no point up until Nancy Grace did we know that Sebastian, say, had answered her back, and that he's, like, yes, ma'am, Sebastian, did you fall out of bed when she heard the thud? No, ma'am. Okay. Why are you bringing that now? Like, why wasn't this information more forthcoming earlier? So we keep having these different interviews with, all of a sudden we hear this, and then next thing you know, we don't hear anything about the day besides the glaze over of it, and it's like little by little, it's like pulling teeth, right? It's like, could you just, this isn't hard, right? Just say from the day when the day started and to how it ended, step by step, time by time. There's the timeline, okay? Now, Seth was answering again, like, oh, and then he went and flubbered about the whole work thing, right? He said that he's up there going for that, he basically had said in another interview that he almost lost his job, and that was on Smiley's World, that he almost lost his job, but it looks like things are okay now. And so when he was talking to Nancy Grace, he pretty much said that he was working at the St. Jude's Hospital, that he was working, but obviously things had transpired, so he was unsure about his work there. And she said, well, basically, you know what? I understand. Like, you've been home since Sebastian has been missing and type of thing. No, Nancy, no. That's not really it. There's a reason that he almost lost his job. I don't know what that reason is because he didn't go into it, but I'm going to think that some of this information that's coming from his past is coming to haunt him to the public, because you're trying to think of reasons possibly why would somebody that their stepchild is missing almost lose their job, right? Well, when a company has bad publicity, and hence if there's information coming out about his past that they're unaware of, that could possibly be it, right? Oh, shoot. Gloria, where's Gloria? I got emails. Heck, you guys, I want to apologize to anyone if I'm taking too long to get back to your emails, and stuff like that. I just want to apologize. Like I said, I've had a lot on my mind, Sebastian, work, all that stuff, plus my regular life inside of all that. Hi, Slay Girl. Hi, Robin Brown. Where's Gloria? I don't see Gloria. Someone said hi, Gloria, but not yet. I don't see Gloria. Is she there? I don't see her. Just taking a boot quickly. So, anyways, out of the, I'm Gloria. Oh, okay. It's Slay Girl now. Gotcha. When people do that, see, because then, it's kind of like when somebody's on Messenger to me, and when their name is different from here to there on Messenger, I'm like, what is their name? What is their name on my Messenger again? And stuff like that. But anyways, so with regards to, like I said, the Nancy Grace, we learned some information, right? More information again. And sadly for Chris Proudfoot, we do have to take what he says with a grain of salt, because he's not proven to be very trustworthy in what he's saying. Now, does that mean he did something to Sebastian? No, I think he's just honestly trying to save face. And he's, like I said, his personality is very strong. I do want to say this because it was crossing my mind. You guys know we're all just trying to make sense of Sebastian's thing, right? And we're all stuck at that point where what happened to Sebastian, where he, from that moment, possibly between 12 and 6, okay? So we know his mom, Katie, is in the living room, and she says where she's sitting, it's close to Sebastian's room. Now, let's just go to that really quick, actually. Let me just pull up this. Okay. So I believe this is the house that I called today, and some LE law enforcement guy lives here, because I just wanted to see if they're willing to give out the information, if they're the ones that have the cameras, because I can't see any other house that can see the side garage and the front door, right? So anyways, I think this person is the one I tried calling to see if by chance I could grab a couple of time limits on him for the time for him for the public, because obviously some neighbors are talking here and giving other YouTube creators out there some information. Anyways, I didn't get very far. Basically, it was law enforcement was like, we don't work with YouTubers, type of thing. Or everything I do is with YouTubers. Anyways, whatever. All I wanted really was to know what time Sebastian brought the garbage, like a time, so we could have specifics down, right? Anyways, so there's only a house that can see the garage and the front, right? So chances are it's that house right there. But anyways, let me go back to, I think I'm on Google Earth here. Okay. Actually, you know what? I don't really like this picture. Okay. Because of all the trees. Anyways, Sebastian's room is right here. Okay. So Katie was in the living room. So whatever she was laying on, couch, whatever, it's the closest to Sebastian's room, right? So she says that Sebastian, and sorry guys if I can't really overly read chat right now, because I'm just trying to talk about this stuff and I can't really focus on all that stuff. So love you guys. Just keep talking amongst yourself in the chat for a minute. But actually 2 seconds. I'm going to go take a sip of apple juice, and I think I needed a bib because it went right down on my boobies when I was drinking. Good for me. But anyways, okay. So I shall put myself back up here because we're not really talking about that. But anyways, so she's in the living room. She said that Sebastian was playing in the room. Like they got back home again, I'm doing a timeline anyway, but they got back home, whatever. At some point, I think somewhere between 6 and 7, Sebastian takes out the garbage can and he's playing in his room. And then at 9 o'clock, she says, Sebastian, it's time to go to bed. So whatever, an hour later, right? She's, if she's an hour later, so if it's an hour later, she has to be talking to Christopher at this point, because Christopher says 9:43 or 9:46, he was talking with Katie. So at 10 o'clock, about whatever she says, I mean, we're just going on their timeline, okay? That's the best we can do. At 10 o'clock, she hears a thud. Sebastian, did you fall out of bed? No, ma'am. Okay, well, I don't care what it is you're doing, but basically get your butt to sleep. 10 o'clock, like she's still talking to Chris till close to 12. I want to say it's around 11:45 area, but they've said midnight, but I think it's around 11:45 if I'm not mistaken, when they said it before, because obviously they know their own time logs, right? But anyway, so she goes to bed. Their bedroom is on the back side of this house, on the left-hand side. Okay, so you know where that garage is, guys, where I think their bedroom is that one. So Sebastian's is in the front. Faith, which is the daughter of Christopher, is in the back when she comes over. And this is like a bungalow split. So that's hence the loft. Now, so their bedroom is on the same floor. It's 3 bedrooms on the main floor. And theirs is at the back of the house on the left-hand side. And it's probably that one where the door comes out from the back. You know how there's the back door, but that there's actually 2 doors, one from the left-hand side that go out to that sun porch as well. And then there's the bigger one from the living room that goes out there as well. So theirs would be on the back door. Now, again, the person across the street, right? Again, Ring doorbell camera, whatever it is, doesn't pick up anything apparently on their camera because it's just too dark. There's no lights. The only lighting that they have is the solar lanterns that Katie spoke about. And on the left-hand side where the garage is, that there's some lights over there that are always on. Okay, these 2 lights here, these are always on. As you can see, this one's burnt out. And this is just in this image. This is right, when the Lintons lived there. And this light. So these lights are always on. As for the floodlights, those are not on. Those are kept off typically, is what they said in Nancy Grace's interview yesterday. So the bottom line is, then it comes down to, right? So if Katie's in the living room and the couch is near Sebastian's room, okay, so the likelihood of Sebastian, and this is based on the fact that that I'm talking about, that, that I don't think that the parents are involved, or like parents, stepdad, I don't think that they're involved in Sebastian's disappearance. To me, they would have been arrested already. They're, like I said, that house has been checked over. They've been checked over. They know if Christopher went to work or not and stuff like that. Although I don't know why that fool still pretended to have a lie detector test, knowing that the police look, they're probably just rolling their eyes going, oh, dude, you're an idiot. But anyways, so that leaves the front door and, well, the window. Because Christopher Proudfoot talks about the 2 doors and says, something about that have keypads or whatever, but he knows the code to the keypad, that it has to be the front door due to a deduction of the other ones. So if Christopher went out the back door, he would have to go through that squeaky screen, right? And hence, screen doors, right? Great. There's nothing silent about those things. And so there was nothing to show the police that he went out the window, because obviously, though, they would have looked for footprints, in the mulch, because it is mulch that's there, okay? So they would have looked for footprints in the mulch area. And So hence why when the police were there and they were trying to figure out like, like how say Sebastian left, that it must have been through the front door. And however those keypads work, apparently you lock it, I guess, once you leave the front door, is from what I'm gathering. Which is odd to me, I suppose. I'm used to that you have a keypad, you open up the door, and then when it closes, it instantly locks. Or maybe maybe you do have to set it once you leave. Okay, I'm just trying to remember. Because it's only been once that I recall at my twin sister's house where she had one of those. So anyways, so they basically deduce that it must be the front door. Now, obviously, he didn't go to the left. I'm guessing. Okay, this is a guess. And the reason I'll say that is because the lights are always on. The person's house can see the garage. So if the lights are on, they would have seen Sebastian leave on their camera. But they don't. Apparently, they see Katie and Sebastian arrive home. They see Sebastian taking the garbage. But they don't see anything about Sebastian leaving the front door. So if he would have left, and this is again about them deducing, if he would have left the back, he would have been seen on camera, Christopher Proudfoot said. If he would have left the side, obviously the neighbors would have seen him. They don't have no motion detectors, no alarms, no ring door bell as well. So if anything, he went to the right side, right? Came out the front door and left to the right. Because again, I'm just trying to look at it from Ellie's perspective of what Ellie would have checked for, right? They would be obviously big idiots if they didn't check to see if there was footprints in the mulch, to see if he hopped out the window, because obviously he would have disturbed the mulch if he did. So if it's not disturbed, then that's going to exclude that one. I did have a thought today, though, I want to say, that crossed my mind. Well, to me, it's either Sebastian had talked with somebody and met up with them. So let me put it this way. I'm just going to say this. I know this is kind of going to the conspiracy side just a bit, but you know what? We've seen teachers do the most craziest shit out there as well. So there's part of me in my head that's wondering if Sebastian was really close to a teacher, told him about his life at home, let me put it this way. You guys know where I'm going with this, because you guys, no word of a lie. I don't know how many times I've watched videos that whether it's teachers having sex with a child, whether it's teachers doing crazy stuff, and you go, but you're a teacher, really? What the F, right? But anyways, I hope that they say vetted all the teachers, because you're trying to realistically take away things that don't make sense. He didn't take his phone, right? If his mom's sleeping and his phone's in the kitchen, and according to Seth, like if he, watching Minecraft videos, blah, blah, he didn't take shoes. And the mom was still certain of that in yesterday's live with Nancy Grace. He didn't take his money stash from the piggy bank, right, that he saved up. So all of these things, he didn't take a jacket, but his keychain flashlight is missing. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, so all I'm going to say is this. Either he met up with someone, and if he did, or he did take off on his own and just miraculously missed any sort of sighting because it was too dark and nobody captured it, or maybe somebody overlooked it on a video, who knows? I would like to think not, because again, I'm trying to think of how LE would do their typical stuff when they're looking at video footage like over and over for whatever. Things do get missed. So did he miraculously run away, hurt himself, and and he's just somewhere out there in that area? They've done a 5-mile radius search, right? For all we know, there could have been somebody down the block in a car, who knows, that met up, who knows? Like, meaning it's just about the likelihood. Like, to me, it's not making sense that Katie and Christopher have anything to do with it. Because, again, like, their alibis for where they were, to me, a month later, I would like to think that if there was something nefarious going on with, when Katie left it for 10 minutes in the morning or whatever, there was something nefarious going on, that, like, that would be arrested by now or something, right? Like, if there was all these things pointing that direction, I would think that perhaps an arrest would be made. I don't feel it when I'm listening to them. Katie's mom, Katie Proudfoot, when I see her eyes and I'm looking at her emotions in her eyes, as she's sitting there swaying, I just see someone that's freaking broken beyond belief. And she's so numb that she can barely put a sentence together. That's what I see. Christopher Proudfoot, I believe that he thinks that overall he's a great person and a great human being, and he's there to be freaking, the Superman that, cares, that takes charge. Right now, I appreciate a man like that. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate those strong personalities that's like, what, you're my wife, it's my job to take care of you, to a point, as long as they're not controlling, but he seems like he's controlling. He says that he's very strict. They're very strict. I think he's the very strict one. Seth's house, not quite as strict. Doesn't seem like that. Seems to have more leeway with his dad, of course. But you're just trying to go from that point. Because if Katie was in the living room talking with Christopher, okay, she would have seen Sebastian. She would have seen Sebastian. So if what we're hearing is true, yes, 12 to 6 in that area when she went to bed would have to be the time that he left, because she would have seen him any time before that, because she was right there in the living room. She would have heard him go out that front door. So what options does that leave you with then, right? I mean, like I said, if people want to go off on a different theory in that, go right ahead, because each to our own thought process here. But for me, I think Sebastian left, but it's whether or not he had talked to someone, perhaps at his school, a teacher, this teacher perhaps is like, I will protect you. I'll take you out of that situation. Because there are Looney Tunes out there that do that shit. So I'm just saying that I hope everything has been looked at, because there are wackadoodle teachers out there that think that there's some sort of, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? You can't even cherry pick, because doctors, dentists, right? All these people taking other people's lives, and you're like, wait, what? Judges, ugh, can't even get into all that stuff. You see, I know, Patricia, like, I mean, from when you're talking, I know what you're feeling for your thoughts in regards to, the Proudfoots and that. I can't convince myself otherwise. Myself too, right? I just look for people's emotions, and I'm just, if I determine that I feel like they're genuine, then I'm not looking at that part anymore. If I'm deeming it as genuine, I personally feel genuineness when I see Katie, with her eyes, and it's almost like I feel like that's how I would be looking probably. I don't know, to be honest, because I'm not in her shoes, but I deem her as genuine. I think that Christopher Proudfoot is a bit of an asshole, for sure. But, I mean, hey, if Katie loves him and 5 other females loved him before that, there's probably something there to be said about him. but whatever. It's still, it's about Sebastian. Now, if there's stuff in his history that is showing that there's a possibility that, hey, stinky eye at him, right, with the whole stuff going on, then sure. But the LE is looking into all that. So that's how I'm looking at it. Like what's like, for instance, like let's take the flashlight video. Okay, they talked about the flashlight video. Well, but there's right, and that's where people are kind of like stuck with that stuff. But let's take the flashlight video. TBI said there's no evidentiary value to any of the videos. And then they went on to talk about one specifically, but they didn't reference the flashlight, but you could tell that they were referencing the flashlight, right? Basically went on to say that nothing that they have had so far is showing any evidentiary value, but thank you everyone for submitting your cameras. Then Christopher Proudfoot says, like he did on Nancy, like I heard him say this already, that they've seen that video and that they are not flashlights like people think. He still didn't say what they are, because I think, you know how sometimes he's like picks and choose what he wants to talk about, like the police told me not to talk about my time. Why? Why did they tell you that? That seems odd. Why would they tell you not to talk about your time? That doesn't seem right. That doesn't sound right. To something. So you can say all this stuff, but you're not supposed to give dates of when you came home. But wait, you came home, you left on the 1st and came back on the 26th. So what dates can't you give out again? What dates in particular can't you get out again? Who cares about January? Really? Unless there's something shady happening back in January. But he came back home a few times then, more so. But February 1st, basically, to the 26th, when he says he arrived at 1 p.m., I think they would find evidence or something if he's talking to somebody. Are you talking about Sebastian Lalibi? Well, that's just it. You don't need a phone to talk to somebody at school or to set a plan up at school. You don't need a plan for that besides talking verbally to something. So I see it as two things. Myself, really, that Sebastian left willingly seems odd, goes against everything that this high-functioning autistic child would do. It goes totally askew from his whole nature of his plan day by day, and how an autistic child likes to have a sense of stability, let alone the shoes, let alone the phone, let alone no jacket, and then just up and leaves. There's a reason why this child left, right? People at the start of this case thought, well, maybe he was headed off to his dad's an hour away, Seth Rogers, and that's by vehicle. Maybe his plan was to run away to his dad's. He hurt himself, somewhere in the woods, and they haven't found him. Who knows? But how would the only thing that could happen is that he would virtually have to bypass anything that's around him because it's dark at night, which he could possibly, and head off right into the woods and just maybe not be found. Maybe he did, but why would you run away and not take anything at all besides a small flashlight? Like, I don't know. I don't think like an autistic child, so I don't know if he doesn't even think to take money with him. That he doesn't even think to take his phone with him. That would seem strange. Why wouldn't he take his phone if he's running away? Because of his, you'd think he would be calling his dad. And that's just it. We're at like this roadblock, a roadblock that we just can't understand. And so for the most part, a lot of people, not all, a lot of people are stuck at the home because there's nothing that we know about publicly that shows Sebastian leaving that home besides of the words, of Katie Proudfoot. And Christopher, I suppose. Again, depends if you think he was home or not or whatever. Right? So if nothing is showing that he left the home, most people are stuck that Katie and Christopher had something to do with it. But the thing is that that's only the footage. We're only seeing a bird's eye view. Yes, they checked the landfill as well, right? So we know that because, like any good LE enforcement, they're going to double check, recheck, check them over again, look for anything inconsistencies, any sort of lies and fibs, any sort of answers. I mean, it could come back to them. Is it possible? Yes. Is it possible it doesn't? Yes. But I'm always still willing to look at the fact that the information we get is not what LE has. They have so much more information, right? Like if LE were to come out and say, look at, okay, and I don't know why they're not, to be honest with you. Why are you pissed off? I don't know why. If Christopher and Katie are cleared in a sense, kind of like what they did in the Koberger case when Jack and that were being accused of something to do with the, Idaho there. Well, why wouldn't, but it just really depends on the LE there where you're living. You would think that they would come up and take some slack. You think that they would take some slack off of Christopher Proudfoot and say, look, we do have whatever to prove that he was in Memphis and was not home, and take off some of the heat. And other times, depends on the law enforcement that is helping out, depends on if they're going to do something like that. I would like to think, though, that beyond being a police officer, that if someone is being accused of not even being in Memphis and they know that he was, how is that going to hurt the case? It's only going to hurt the case as if you know he wasn't there. So with all the data that they have on Christopher and stuff like that and his wife and blah, 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 right? I mean, why not just come out and tell the public, like, look, he was in Memphis, okay? Because then people can sit back and go, oh, okay, shit. So he was there. But then, people are going to change it then to like, well, then he planned it from there. But anyways, I think Sebastian left on his own or with somebody. Don't know. It stops right there at this house. And unless LE gets this, information or something where Sebastian just comes out of the woodwork, maybe in the same state, maybe somewhere else. I don't know. Nothing showing me that Chris or Katie have anything to do with this. Besides, we know that there's no footage that we know of like maybe there is, but they said no videos at that point had any evidentiary value, so that would be like 0. And if those aren't flashlights, which they aren't, then you got to take that out of the equation too. Like you can't just keep made up shit in there. Then, if TBI says that, you can't just keep adding flashlights like Ellie is stupid and doesn't know the difference between the footage and the whole scope of the footage that is coming from that camera, right? They aren't dumb like that. Yeah. I'm just giving you my thoughts. Again, I'm working on a timeline just with the information, but at the end of the day, the buck starts here. Okay, give me 2 seconds and then I will come back and for about another 13 minutes, I suppose, eh? So give me a couple minutes. Just quickly gonna run to the washroom is what I'm going to do. Then I gotta get ready to get to bed and get my life together for my first day tomorrow. I don't want to go. Anyways, be right back. Okay, I'm back. Oh yeah, I forgot I gotta make myself a lunch for tomorrow as well. What'd you say, Patricia? I went back over missing children cases and watched the parents pleading for their safe return. And these two are much more like the ones who end up arrested. I get it. I get what you're saying, right? How many times have we seen parents pleading and that they have stuff to, and that they have something to do with it? So I absolutely get that. I get that factor for sure. Wireless security jammer will stop Ring Nest cameras from recording video. They didn't even have one. I'm amazed, considering, doesn't she work for like Brinks or something? She's a technician, installation installer. I can't remember. At some point in the interview, did they say that they had cameras but they're not turned on? Because I remember him when he was asked about cameras, he said no. But then I thought I remember him in another interview going, "What do you mean you have cameras?" I thought you said no, you didn't have cameras. So do you guys remember that part? Maybe it was someone posing as a trusted person, such as a friend, family member, and lured him away. However, seems that communication would show up on his. Well, that's just it. See, Taylor, you have to take that out of the equation because they would have found that. They would have found something on there, you would think, right, with that. So then that leaves, where else could he have been talking? He didn't have any friends because most of the kids didn't like him, it seems, from what they were saying on Nancy, that he had a heart. They were saying it nicely, but basically saying that Sebastian basically is on a one-track mind, and basically it causes conflict with the other kids, and hence why he doesn't really have any friends. So then you have to look, well, okay, if he just didn't take off by himself and he's out there somewhere, unalive right now, because obviously maybe some incident happened. So that's still a possibility, right? And then the other possibility was that perhaps he was talking to somebody. Was it a teacher? Was it a friend at school? Was it like I said, was there an adult? Like I would go back to the school time and see if there was something there. Because it's either that or else they overlooked him or in the search. Ain't no way. Well, I mean, I guess there's no way a month later that he wouldn't have been seen somewhere by somebody, right? Unless we think this case, I mean, yeah, it still needs to pick up for sure, right? I think it's getting pretty much a lot of attention. Chris and Kitty obviously hate Seth, and I think that ties into why what they have done, whatever it is that they have done. They didn't want Sebastian telling his dad what had been going on. I don't know. Not like I said, I'm not personally seeing it that way, but it's not like I'm not thinking about everything as well. The brain's always thinking. It's just that we draw our own conclusions. Yeah. 1 second here. Twitter's quiet tonight. Probably came on too late for the Twitter people. Anyways, hello 5 Twitter people that are watching. But like I said, my conclusions aren't doing that, but there's only so many things that happened here. Yeah. I mean, if there's lights on the left-hand side that would have shown him, it has to be from the right-hand side where his bedroom is. And if there's no mulch that's been disturbed, right? Because then they would have said about the window. So mulch must not have been disturbed. And if there's a camera in the back, well, there's no other options, really. There's not really any other options. Unless he went into face room and hopped out that small little window up top. But to me, because the flashlight thing, I don't know, like I said, it depends if people buy the flashlight thing or not. But what kid just leaves a house? I know what it looks like. Let me put it that way, Patricia. I know what it looks like. A kid doesn't take his phone, doesn't take any money, doesn't put on any shoes, right? There's no footage. Everything just stops at the home. There's nothing to show, no dog scent, besides whatever they keep talking about at the construction site. Now, that's a plausibility, though. It's still a plausibility that he left, went up into the woods, running away, whatever he was doing, and he was overlooked in the search. That's still a very big possibility. And then some hunter, a year or so, or 6 months, year or two down the road, is going to perhaps find the clothes in the woods, with some maybe remains, right? Is that a possibility? Absolutely. Happens all the time, right? Nobody's perfect. They feel like they've searched every area. Maybe it was overlooked, right? Depends how good the person is at searching, right? So that's still a very possibility. And then to me, the other one, I know for people that think it's the parents, again, I'm not feeling that vibe whatsoever. There's too many things at the LE. To me, I don't know. When people see the term trust the process, absolutely trust the process. Depends how someone takes that word, trust the process. Like, just give it some time. Don't worry. We're working on this. We got this. It's probably going to be some kooky ass thing that we never even thought of. Because that's how kooky this case kind of is to me. It's just weird. It's a mind, and it's because we can't place Sebastian anywhere past this house because there's nothing to show that. And then this flashlight video comes out, which we're told it's not flashlights. So I'm going to take him for their word on that. It's not flashlights. The TBI said would Nathan. By the time they find him, Chris will be on his 10th marriage. Hi, Nathan. Why are there only 4 of us that all agree that mom and stepdad had something to do with this? Well, I think that's because everyone has their differences of opinions on just different thoughts. There's a lot of people out there that would agree with you, Alicia. I'm not, for me personally, it's the facts that mean the most. If the facts lead at any point to the Proudfoots, again, the police have that information, and then that information will come to us. But I'm not going to accuse the Proudfoots because, again, we don't have enough information. Like, to think about it, sure. But I'm not going to accuse them. I don't feel it, but I'm not going to accuse them. Nor Seth Rogers, because obviously he has an alibi. I'm looking more at the timeline and the facts because that's where the answers lie, right? I mean, no one's gonna go over to Christopher Proudfoot, beat him like a horse type of thing, and he's gonna fess up and go, okay, yeah, you're right, you guys, I lied about the polygraph test, I lied about, Again, those are answers to me that are only gonna come out through the LE, unless some YouTuber gets lucky and, captures some footage or something to show differently, or some sort of, confession, maybe in Mississippi there, where the Proudfoots are. No, everyone has their right, Nathan. Like I said, I respect everyone's opinions in here, as long as people don't go on the attack because other people's opinions are different. So I absolutely respect the fact if you think that they did something, or anybody else, but I know Patricia has a totally different thoughts about what happened as well. They were abusive to him, probably led to his vanishing if they were directly involved, and they don't. And again, that truth, Nathan, will come out. It will come out at some point. It will. If there's this type of history that we know nothing about, and stuff like that, that stuff will come out. Trust me. And the reason why it will come out is because there's so much data out there, between cell phones, tracking, your computers, your phones, everything. there's too much out there that people are idiots to try to get away with stuff. You know, it still happens, but with everyone's doorbell cameras, this, you know, all that stuff, honestly, it's like you're almost a fool to try to commit a crime and think you're going to get away with it, because there's going to be telling stuff on a computer or a phone that they try to delete information, but the information's still there, and Starbright will go in and pull that information off and stuff like that. But the truth will come out eventually. I want to believe that there's still a hope that, of course, that Sebastian is out there, that he did run away. Does it seem odd a month has gone by, you know, and not a peep from Sebastian? Is it possible that he did connect with somebody at school, but it wasn't ever on his phone, but he connected with someone and that person maybe tapped on the window to let him know they was there, but, you know, missing every camera, that person that would come there? It's hard to believe, is it not, right? It's hard to believe that a person could come down that street at any given point and somehow bypass the cameras or Ring doorbell cameras. You know, even in the darkness, there should be somebody or a vehicle moving. Yes, I was just going to say that, Lily B. Yeah, just use the Sebastian hearts, if you remember, on there for Sebastian. Yeah, if you remember, I made this one. It says Sebastian Rogers, but it's green hearts for Sebastian, so that's for the members. I wanted to make one especially for Sebastian. I feel like, well, because I feel like he deserves it. Because we're following this case, it means a lot. And yeah. You know, the bottom line is where we're sitting at the moment, though, is no different, but maybe a little bit different. In the fact that we keep getting more bits of information, you know, because it's been like pulling teeth from the Proudfoots, you know. Seth Rogers wouldn't have an issue. He's very open about talking about stuff, you know. But I would still like to think that he's, you know, alive. Like, there is that hope, you guys. You just have to go as far as the Smart case. You know, there is that hope. Or he's hurt himself when he was leaving with a flashlight. There's no way this kid went out by himself with no shoes. It's so hard to believe that someone sneaks out at night and he doesn't take shoes at nighttime when it's dark and you don't know what you're walking into. That is odd. That is so odd. So wherever this case leads back to, I need to get going here, guys. I need to go make mine and my husband's lunches for work tomorrow and get a proper night's sleep here. I probably won't sleep that much, to be honest with you. I'm so used to my alarm clock being set to sleep whenever it wants and wake up whenever it wants. But I don't usually sleep a lot anyway. But anyways, regardless if you guys feel like the Proudfoots had something to do with it or not, my hope and prayer, I think, for all of us, is that we just hope that at some point Sebastian is alive, right? Just that hope, regardless. Even if we don't feel it because a month has gone by, there's still hope. You know, sometimes you follow cases and you know that there's no hope, like Elijah Vu. I don't have much hope for his case, considering they found his blanket. But I do have hope for Sebastian. I do. And I'm hoping that it's the fact that someone did assist him in leaving the home some way. And about the car, I think it was Trev Time that was talking about a vehicle. And of course, if I'm not mistaken, they want to place that vehicle around 3 o'clock. I remember hearing Uber Could be something different. I vaguely heard it. I haven't gone back to actually look at it. No, I agree. I would like to see Nancy go back to a second interview with them and to bring up the things that she didn't ask them in the first one, because there's definitely some more things. And usually it's always hindsight, you know? It's like, oh shit, why didn't I ask that question? Why didn't I ask? The Uber is the main beacon of hope left. That he was a. So was it an Uber driver, Nathan? Was it an Uber driver, you guys? I just vaguely remember hearing about a car, and it was on Trev Time. Something about talking to a neighbor exclusively. Well, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, one second. Where is it? Let me just find it. Is it this one? Okay. I think it's this one right here. At the end of the day, the question, and I went to go look for those videos that someone was talking about. How many social media profiles does Christopher have? Because this was the one he was always posting from, it seems like, in the Facebook groups. Well, this is his profile. Let me go back and look at that. You know. Just taking a quick look here. Is this the profile? Nathan, is this the profile picture that you're referring to? Is this one here? Or is it a different profile? Okay, so I can't see what. Is supposed to Chris posting memes on what is. Okay, so how come you guys are seeing that, but I don't see that on his Facebook? Like when I go to his Facebook, like on March 14th, I see Christopher Proudfoot, and he posts, you know, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation with Sebastian. But March 17th is the only date that I see after that. Let's see here. Yes, it's Proudfoot 7. Yeah. Yeah, Christopher.proudfoot.7. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. But when I've gone there, I don't see any. Maybe he has me blocked. Maybe I have to go in through my It's a Crime and Shame account. Maybe for some reason he has me blocked. But even before I knew anything, I really, let me, if I go through my other Facebook, let me just go see, actually. I'm just going to head into my It's a Crime and Shame Facebook. And Christopher. Christopher. You had me blocked. Isn't that funny? Because I actually, what I actually find funny about that is when I first messaged him, like I said, I've never placed any blame on him or Katie. So for this person that claims that they're all about answering questions and stuff, so he obviously blocked me and I didn't realize it. Because why would he block me, I would think, right? I'm like one of the few channels that actually is literally not running around accusing him in a sense. So that's funny. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, guys. Because when I go to, yeah. Well, he's got a big mouth, you know, and if Michelle, I bet, yeah. Well, you know what? Like I said, at the end of the day, I wasn't putting his ass on blast. More so am I a little bit now. Not because I feel like he's guilty. It's because of his stinking bad attitude. And then if that was his sister that came in named Michelle Proudfoot, she's got just as bad as an attitude. But all I'm seeing is a family with a bunch of mouths that run. But by the same token, I understand you reap what you sow. If that was his sister Michelle that was in the chat that I slammed down the other day, come in beaking off about stuff that I hate. So it's like I said, if you don't know this channel, you're gonna beak off about it, you know, type of thing. Take it somewhere else. You can talk to my hand, because at the end of the day, if that Michelle Proudfoot was his sister, she's making everything worse for him. You know, she's not adding value at all, you know, to her, Christopher Proudfoot, which is already being frowned upon by the public. You know, so hey, dude, reap what you sow. And if your family wants to, you know, come in, like I said, Robin Rogers, people don't care because everyone feels empathy for Seth Rogers. So if Robin Rogers is saying that basically Christopher Proudfoot, you know, isn't a nice person and this and that, it's probably true. We've seen this side of him that's very aggressive. It's probably not. And his sister Michelle probably just has a big mouth just like Christopher does. So be it. Don't care. Like I said, at the end of the day, it's about finding Sebastian Rogers. You know, it's not about Michelle. It's not even about well, like I said, you can't force these people. I would like for Nancy to been like, okay, so what searches have you done exactly? Don't just say that you've been in searches. Yeah. Anyways, I do have to get going and make my lunch. So again, for anyone watching this video, I'm making that timeline, like I said, just to show it one more time. That's not it. Is it that one? Yeah, it's that one. Okay. So I'm making this timeline, like I said, you know, with the different parts of it. So, if you guys could maybe perhaps come back when this live ends and the comment section comes up, If you guys could come leave any comments that are factual, first of all, or that they're based around another content creator giving you information about, for instance, a car and what, type of thing, or any bit of information that is at least factual or to do with a neighbor giving information to a content creator. Thank you so much, Lily B. And no, I don't. Yeah. Okay, you guys. So anyways, yeah. So if there's any information out there that you feel like I could put into this timeline, like I know you don't know what I have already, but anyways, just if you can come back to the comment section. I don't care if it's that he doesn't like dirt, stuff like that, because I want to kind of put that stuff around there as well. Anyways. Well, I agree with you there, Patricia Burns. I agree with you there. Okay? Like, do it to me once, do it to me twice, 3 times. Anyways, bless you all. Please hit the like and the share. Let's just do some green hearts for Sebastian before we get out of here. Because, again, this is 1 month today, guys. So just drop some green hearts if you could. And then we're going to head off of here. And then Patricia's going to go make me my lunch. Alicia's going to go work for me tomorrow because I don't want to. See, Taylor, what are you exactly going to do? You're going to do the live stream tomorrow night? Yeah. Yes. No, again, appreciate all your comments and do appreciate your opinions. It's not like they don't get thought about or looked at in a sense, right? Just trying to find Sebastian. Just trying to understand this poor child's teenager, just trying to understand what happened to him. And it's just, at this moment, there's just no understanding it really, because there's nothing to really go by, because it's a bunch of nothingness that leads nowhere, but besides to the home. Okay, you guys. Anyways, you guys take care again. Prayers for Sebastian, and for me, prayers to the families, of any of the missing and the murdered as well. But anyways, so as for the boots on the ground channels, like JLR, CJ, Dolly Vision, anyone that's doing the boots on the ground there, again, keep doing it. Keep doing you. Somebody else that goes searching that lives in that area, again, keep doing it. Don't let nobody stop you, right? This is about a missing child that people really care about. That's why they're there doing boots on the ground and stuff like that, giving us coverage. Thank you so much, guys. All right, we're out of here. We're going to get out of here. And tomorrow's hump day. Have a good hump day tomorrow.
A Norfolk night, the world is cold. We stand surrounded, we are not alone. Within my reverie, there's holy light. Without an honor, we stand and fight. A Norfolk